heck did I just come across?
Yo, what is this video, man?
I have no idea that lowest case is about to be a thing.
Me
So we are
neither.
going
I
to
never
react to
heard of
all of
this.
these designs that this guy has created. I'll put their channel in the description so you could check out some of their other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
let's see what's going on.
yeah.
Magic.
Definitely.
When I designed lowercase numbers, I thought it would be a fun, silly, one-off idea. I would do it, be done with it, and never look at anything similar again. Then,
So the
when I
numbers
designed
was just the
uppercase and lowercase
start.
Symbols, I thought, well, surely now I've expanded my horizons as far as they'll go. Then I made middle case letters, and surely that would have been the final straw. But then I designed uppercase case letters. And that's not a stopping point. Because unlike every category prior, the existence of uppest case can only mean one thing. The existence of lowest case. And I don't have anything funny to say. Can we just cut to the intro?
Can we just cut to the intro?
That's a lot of hamburgers, by the way.
Now,
Bro, whoever had that much, whoever has that much, they become obese. They become obese.
Obesity.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, though.
No.
now let me get
Like,
one thing straight.
They
I am
need
never
100 people.
someone who excludes or discriminates any one or any group.
Why is he praying?
He's praying to
But
God.
I never wanted to have to deal with lowest case because you can make letters, you can keep making letters bigger. You can't really shrink them that
True,
much. You can only
true,
get so
true.
small
You
before
can
your
make
entire
you
page
can make
is just
so
a
many
bunch of dots and
phases
dashes.
of
And I'm not
uppercase
trying to
letters,
write
and they can
in
just go
Morse
on
code.
forever.
And you can also only get so small before letters start looking identical. So keeping them original and unique is very not easy. But I tried my best. That's all to say that I'm just not the biggest fan of some of these. Don't get me wrong, some of these are really cool. And even more of them are the opposite of really cool. So let's start with the lowest letter, the lowest letter. It's the first one of the alphabet. It's not the lowest. It's the
Lowest, lowest,
Lois?
lowest.
Lois? Isn't it Lois Griffith?
What the heck?
the lowest case of the first letter. My brain is so scrambled right now. So of course,
It became
let's
scrambled
begin
eggs.
with A.
Scramble.
Am I
Can I not take off the marker lid
pull the
off?
lid off this thing? I tried to pull it and it just slipped out of my hand. Maybe I should start working out. With A, I don't even think I need to worry about
Bro needs
uppercase
more
and
finger
middlecase
strength.
designs because I don't know how I'm gonna shrink this at all. As much as I'd hate to say that I had a ton of designs and I just hated all of them, I'd prefer to say that than to what the reality of the situation is. And the reality of the situation is that I just didn't have any designs. So as a last resort, but also somewhat satisfying conclusion, I cut A in half. Yep, I took off A's legs and lowest case A is just a triangle. I think it was in the uppercase symbols video.
Why does that remind me of the delta symbol? It looks like a delta.
Delta.
Yeah, I forgot what that symbol was used for in terms of math. Cause I know wait, actually no, not math. What am I thinking? Chemistry.
Oh yeah, we fuck. Biology? Yeah, we sometimes use that in biology.
I forgot what formula it was used in.
Yeah, same.
Where I expressed that I wouldn't want to just have shapes in the alphabet, but With A, I'm willing to make an exception because we already have a shape right there. And I think I'm more willing to accept this than just like a box or something. Like a square would really bother me. Also, what the hell am I talking about? O is just a circle, so I don't
Yeah.
I don't even know my own
O is
alphabet.
just a
Also,
shape.
Not that we would ever worry about what Greek letters look like, but the Greek letter delta is just a triangle.
Yeah, delta.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's just the uppercase version, so this shouldn't cause any problems with that. And even if it does, it's a different language, so it doesn't really matter. Again, not the greatest solution, but it was the best I could do under the circumstances. Under different circumstances, I was actually a lot happier with what I did for B. This is one where I'd like to bring up my middle case design because I turned the top bump into a dot because it goes from a bump to a dot to nothing. And I think that was a nice pattern to follow. Bump to bump to bump to dot. I've crunched.
Yo.
Why does that low-key make sense though?
For real.
Like you got two
Low-key.
bumps, one bump, one dot, one bump, then a dot.
My math isn't mathing. Wait. I'm like Angel that's like trying to math.
The numbers. I don't think that putting a dot here should cause many problems, if any. No, I think we'll be okay. The only thing it might get confused with would be a period, but the period naturally goes lower here, so it might look odd. It definitely looks bizarre. But it shouldn't be a problem. It's one of those things where if it annoys you, you just kind of have to suck it up and get over it because objectively speaking, it's not a problem. It's just a you problem. I do really like this pattern we have
Just
going
a
on.
you
It kind of gets
problem.
messed up once you get to uppest case B, but having that wrench in the mix almost feels right in a way. But we're not here to talk about all this. We're here to talk about lowest case B. And lowest case B is okay by me.
What about the other people?
What is he doing?
I like to believe
He's just
that
dragging
anything
his
is
finger
possible. I
down.
like to believe that if you believe in yourself enough, you can do whatever you want. As long as you put your mind to it, nothing is impossible.
Why am I hearing Subway
Nothing.
Surfers? I'm hearing Subway Surfers in the background, boy! Why am I hearing that in the background? Literally the OG Surfers background music.
The OG.
That being said, designing a lowest case C is impossible, especially when we take into consideration uppest case and middle case C. Because as you hopefully know, some uppercase and lowercase letters do not look anything alike. The problem with adding uppest case and middle case is that the more letters you add, the more you establish a trend. And by establishing a trend like this, it leaves little room to do anything different for lowest case C. Could I just make up some random new symbol and call it a day? Yeah, but I don't think that would fit with C. Even more so than A, I have to turn to a last resort. And that's exponents. Rather than putting C below the line,
Exponents
C goes
is
up
crazy.
here. So it shrinks in size again, and then it goes up. The only reason I'm okay with that is because it's smaller than lowercase c. If it remained the same size and just started flying, that would be a no-go. And I also didn't want to resort to subscripts because if you're writing on lined paper, it just doesn't feel nice. So this is absolutely the last resort. And I hate to admit it, but it does happen with some other letters. There's at least one where you can already guess that that's the case, but we'll get there when we get there. In the meantime, let's talk about D. Not like that. This might be the only letter that has a consistent pattern between all 5 cases. Between all 5 cases, it always has a straight line and some kind of bump, whether it's facing this way or this way. And while uppercase and lowercase d are as traditional as can be, uppest case and middle case d kind of have this same bizarre shape going on. So what if we carry that over? Therefore, lowest case d is middle case d without the stem. The best.
My brain isn't braining.
What do you mean it isn't braining?
I mean, the how he explained it's like trying to sound like a chemical reaction.
Why does it sound like a chemical reaction, though?
Sounds like
Sound like
science.
what is this trend? What if we carry this
Trend?
over?
The-
Part about this is that that's just uppercase D, but flipped and small, which really works as lowest case D. Yeah, it loses the stem that it has in every other variant, but it still looks like D and it's smaller than lowercase d. I think this one tracks really well and it remains really consistent. And it might be the only one. Never thought it would be this letter, of all things, but kudos to D. It's well deserved. Deserved, which starts with a D. When all the dust has settled, dust also starts with a D. I think I might be willing to say that this is my favorite letter in terms of the design consistency. Eek. E is a disaster waiting to happen.
Eek.
I never heard of this word or letter.
What?
If I would be honest, I never heard of it. This letter eek.
No,
honest.
no, it's not a letter. He said eek, then E.
Ah! I can't.
Confusion.
He's making my brain go so numb.
My biggest issue with E is that every case for it, save for uppercase, has some kind of curvature going on. And so the fact that uppercase E just kind of randomly locks in and straightens up compared to all
Yeah,
the
that
other
doesn't fit. That
it just
doesn't
didn't sit right with
fit.
me. So I knew that whatever I did for lowest case E would have to be somewhat sharp, otherwise it would bother me. I also kind of wanted it to follow a natural form, and what I mean by that is there's kind of established rules as to how you draw letters, and doing anything outside of those feels really weird. Like, for example, I forget what it's called, but there's a letter in another language that looks like this, and
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah, I never seen that in my life.
I'm pretty sure that's used in Icelandic. Yeah, it says, yeah. Yeah, it's used in Old English, Middle English, Icelandic, and Frozen, which I have no idea. And Elfdalian, which some of these languages I probably butchered how to say them. So
It's just
it might look cool, but no part of this follows conventional English letter design. So as fun as it would be to kind of dive into just doing whatever I feel like for a letter, I want to make it feel traditional. That's been my goal with this entire series, to make things that feel in line with the rest of our writing system. And E pushed that idea to its limit. At this point in time, I've seen more lowest case designs in my Discord server than I'd ever be willing to admit, and so many people did something like this for E. But that just doesn't feel natural. I'd be willing to make the argument that this feels like a hyphen, but the difference is that a hyphen would be here, because if this is lowest case E, it would be next to capital letter. It just doesn't work. But I really gave it my all, and combining that prospect with the one to make E sharp again, I came up with this.
that's just a small L with a dot. How do you call that an E? How do you call that an E?
like what I'm trying to process. I think I sing too much Loser Baby.
Why are we bringing up Hasman Hotel?
Oh
Can we
my
get
God.
Angel and Husk on the screen, please?
I can't.
No, I can't with you.
I can't.
Let me explain. There are three things going on here that I think perfectly justify this as lowest case e. The first and most obvious is that this is the bottom half of uppercase e. You cut out this bottom piece and you get this shape. To build onto that, if we take lowercase e and we squareify it, if we make it like a blocky letter, we would end up with something like this, which also has that shape in it. And then lastly, you take a circle like we do in so many other letters and turn it into a dot. I like that. I think
Why does that low-key kind of works, but I feel like I might argue with him, but I'm not going to.
I think the combination of this, this, and this turning into a dot all works out to make this a suitable lowest case e. You might not like it, but deep down, you know I'm right. Please, I need this. Now I could sit here all day and come up with some ingenious creative design for lowest case f, or I could just give you the short and straight of it and say that I just put lowercase f below the line.
He's probably not gonna do that.
No.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's simple, it looks fine, and it feels pretty nice, honestly. So let's just move on. With G, I ran into
Wow, he actually did just go with it.
G has this tail, except for uppercase G. So lowest case G shouldn't have a tail. And again, I'm sure there's a ton of creative ideas I could come up with, but if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? Just take uppercase G and make it smaller. I don't think that this is that great of a decision. I just think it's okay, and it's fine. And I don't really need to do anything more because this just works fine on its own. So yeah, it solves the issue of just uppercase G not having this tail, while also feeling like G, because it is just G. In other news, I don't like H. I kind of just did the opposite of what I did with A. Instead of taking the top half, I took the bottom half.
Okay, but
So,
now
okay,
that just looks like the Russian letter P in the Cyrillic alphabet.
Russian roulette is
That's
not the
basically
same
that's just copying the Cyrillic lowercase p.
Nom nom nom.
I'm definitely gonna argue with him because that's just taking Cyrillic.
Now that's just crossing the line right here.
Plagiarism!
Oh my God.
Plagiarism!
Plagiarism?
Yes!
Plagiarism? Since when plagiarism?
But I'm not going to fight about it. I'm not gonna fight about it. I feel like people can like argue with me in the comments about this.
I don't think so.
And the only issue I can see with this is that it's kind of close to pi.
Really?
Why?
No, but what? It's not even that close to pi.
But not close enough. The little serifs here are doing, is that what you call those serifs,
Yep.
right? Whatever they are, they're doing most of the heavy lifting here. I'm not super happy with it, but if it weren't for the exponent letters that we have coming up, along with C.
He's not getting the memo about the Cyrillic! He's not getting the memo!
No, he does not.
I would have more of an issue with it. Like, to me, this is just a necessary sacrifice of trying to make lowest case letters. Again, you can only do so much. What am I gonna do? Cut off the tail? That's just N. Round it off? Nope, that's still just N. Shrink lowercase h altogether. That just feels wrong and still like N. I felt like I was in a bit of a weird predicament and that this was the best that I could do. I did not know what to do for I for the longest time. But then I thought about it and I realized it was actually kind of easy. Obviously, we're gonna keep the tittle.
What is he gonna do?
First time in any of these videos where I've used the proper word for the dot of an I, or a dot of any kind for that matter. Because I think it's called the tittle on both lowercase I and lowercase j. But
What?
I never called it that on any letter. I just
Huh?
called it the dot.
The dot is
I usually
crazy.
pride myself on my accuracy. I don't know why I didn't say that until now. Regardless, we have to keep the dot. It's kind of necessary. But what do we do to the line underneath it? So, ever heard of the rotate tool?
No.
Huh?
Instead
Rotate?
of keeping it up there, we would probably like move it down a little bit. I really
Oh! I see what he did.
I don't get the real.
Okay, so you know the small stem on the lowercase I, like it's vertical.
Yeah. Yeah.
He rotated that so it lays down flat, horizontally.
Oh.
That's what he meant by the rotate tool.
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
really wanted to just do 2 dots, but that would just be a colon. And doing 3 dots, it kind of works, but also, I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan. I don't think lowest case I should just be vertical ellipses. And yeah, I is the vertical line letter, so having it kind of go horizontal out of nowhere doesn't feel great. But at the same time, uppercase I has always had those horizontal lines. Unless, of course, you're just wrong and you write your I like that, but...
Please, be honest. Tell me if you write your I's just a single line.
No. I only write number 1, only a single line. That's all.
I also write number 1 as a singular line. When I do uppercase I always add the 2 lines. Because it's just
Yeah.
natural.
Because it's
And also to
natural
avoid
thing.
confusion with lowercase l.
Yes.
then you would just be wrong. I just think that this is just enough consistency for it to glide by. But literally just enough. Like it's teetering on the edge. It's on thin ice, if you will. And actually, I'm gonna keep I up here to illustrate my point about J. It's the same story. The difference is that you add a...
Okay, for J, I don't have that top line.
No, I don't think so.
I don't draw that top line of J.
No, sometimes I use the top, like the capital J, but sometimes I use the lowercase.
Yeah.
a tail onto the
so
vertical line.
easy.
However, that doesn't mean I'm just gonna add a tail to the horizontal line, because that...
For thinking.
Wait.
You know? Actually, okay. I think this is the first time ever that I'm doing this. My heart's been changed on the spot. I'm gonna go with this, because if you're writing it on the line, okay, that's a bad example. Because if you write them on the line next to each other, it'll look like this.
That actually works.
Yeah.
I kind of really like that. I was gonna go with this.
That just doesn't work!
No. So no crying.
Yeah! That doesn't work at all!
The silence of his moments.
Because it's like I, but then you get the tail, like, shape of J, as if you were to, like, cut off all of this from lowercase j, and then just move the dot down, but... No, I mean... This looks great. I mean, okay, let me not get too excited. It doesn't look great, but considering the circumstances, I think it looks pretty good. I can't believe I didn't, like, try that. Maybe I did try that, but for some reason I just didn't like it? I don't know. Man, I'm so unpredictable, even I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. K and L are very uninspired, so I'm just gonna get through them pretty quick. For both of them, you just take the uppercase letter and shrink it. Ooh, let me, almost messed up there. For both of them, you just take the uppercase letter and shrink it to lower.
Okay, again, for K, that's just taking the Cyrillic K, but lowercase.
Sorry, like son.
Okay, maybe there's like a slight difference in terms for that and the Cyrillic version, because I mean the Cyrillic version has a little bit of a curve on one of the lines, and this one doesn't. I feel like that's the
Oh,
only
really?
difference. L is lowest case L is just taking the lowest case E but removing the dot.
Removing the dot. Removing the dot. Dot diddy dot dot dot.
Lowercase size. For K, my reasoning is that it's just lowercase k if you cut off the top part of the tail. And for L, my reasoning is that I can't do anything else. Except for maybe like just a line, but I don't think that works. So yeah, for both of these, it's pretty uninspired, but I think it fits in line pretty well. I'm also gonna do M and N at the same time because you'll see. Out of every design, for every number, symbol, or letter in this entire series, this isn't the one I'm the most unhappy with, but it's definitely the one that I struggled with the most. Removing this line isn't enough. I can't just do this. That doesn't work. Turning the bumps into dots would feel like a cardinal sin. Turning them upside down just makes them a pre-existing letter. Making them an exponent is boring and uninspired. Shrinking the capital letters to lowercase size doesn't work for M. What do I do? Well, to answer that question, we need to turn to R. We're not gonna cover R yet, but
What? What is that? You're just gonna bring up R?
He's gonna bring up a bunch of letters, I swear.
do need to use it as a case study. More specifically, lowercase r. R as a letter feels kind of unconventional because it does something that no other letter does. If you take away the stem of any other letter in the alphabet, you'll get part of an existing letter. But in the case of R, you just get a small bump. I think the only thing you can compare this to is, I guess, lowercase e, because you could say it's like this part or this part maybe, but even saying that I feel like is stretching it. And so naturally, I took this and I ran with it. So now it is lowest case M and lowest case N.
What?
Lowest case M looks like a bird in the way that some artists draw them. Like in the background.
That's how I usually draw a bird.
So yeah, I just did it like a bird.
So all this long, I just wrote M all this long.
I guess so.
Well, I usually draw birds like that, but
I
how
guess
my
I didn't
mom
technically struggle with these the most because I did come up with this and this relatively early into the design process. The difference is that I just didn't want to commit to this for the longest time. And so I guess that's where the struggle came from. Because until I saw this analogy, it just felt super unconventional to me. However, once I saw that analogy, I'm actually pretty okay with it. If you're not happy with that, and you have a better design, then that's awesome, man. I'm so glad you have your life together. Oh. God, I still hate middle case O to this.
It looks like a donut.
Donut.
Donut. It does look like a donut though.
Yummy donut. I'm gonna eat it. Domer.
Nom.
Nom. Domer.
If we ignore middle case.
Okay. Can we just take a look at the uppercase O?
Yeah. Why does it look like a smiley face?
Why is it an emoji?
An emoji.
Emoji.
Yo, put Sin in the screen. I'm so naughty. The flesh,
So if we just pretend it's not there, then there's kind of an obvious solution here. As much as I'd love to just turn O into a dot that would get really confusing with both the period and the multiplication symbol that's just a dot. So we can't do that. What we can do is cut this out and just make lowest case O a smiley face. Because uppest case O is a smiley face, but it has a circle around it. And it's bigger than this one. So lowest case O is just the smiley face.
I can argue that it doesn't work.
Like, bro, son, what am I looking?
How are you going to bring emotion into the alphabet?
Oh my god. Now what is gonna be next? Anger?
I don't know.
I'm relatively happy with that, but I think that's because I'm okay with the idea of putting a smiley face in the alphabet. A lot of people took issue with that. And so I know you guys are not gonna like this at all. And to that I say, I'm sorry that your life is so devoid of joy that a smiley face upsets you.
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna get an ice cream, throw it at him, or a tomato.
Tomato?
Yes, tomato. If not, I'm gonna get
Tomato,
a
tomato.
tomato. But I'm gonna get a mandarin. I have a mandarin on my hands right now. Flash.
Hope things get better for you. Considering everything we've discussed so far, P should be relatively obvious, but I'm still gonna show you just in case. So, like, what if we took the bump and turned it into a dot? Q
That's basically lowest case B, but upside down.
Yeah.
raises quite a few questions, but I think I have the answers to all of them. I hope I have the answers to all of them. Some of you might be wanting to say, well, so far B and P have both turned bumps into dots. So surely with Q, we would just do the same thing. But I don't think we should. The big reason, and also the reason that I didn't kind of do the same thing with D and with A and whatnot, is because I think presenting this system with dots that can be on two sides of the letters, i.e. like that would not look fun to write. I don't.
No, it does not.
No.
It definitely does not.
No, it does not.
I don't think we would ever have a situation where P and Q would be next to each other or B and Q would be next to each other, especially in lowest case, but I just don't want to risk it. Language changes all the damn time, and I don't want to set up a system that could risk this happening in the future. So to steer clear of that, I have a rule that I've established. And that rule is that if a bump turns into a dot, it either needs to be like isolated by itself, or it needs to be to the right side of whatever stem is incorporated in that letter. So with Q, instead of doing a dot, we just wouldn't. So that's
I don't know how to
get
feel
it.
about this.
Bo's ruining my nut.
Ruining your what?
I'm eating nuts.
Oh!
What did you think I was saying?
I don't know. I thought you said something different.
I'm eating chocolate.
lowest case Q. And don't worry, I hear ya. Pixel, what if I write my Q without the weird tail thing at the bottom? And first of all, I think that's less cool objectively.
Okay, now I'm offended because I don't write the little tail. Okay, maybe I do, but it's a very small curve.
For me, no. I sometimes do, but not a lot. But
Yeah.
Than this. Like, what do you mean you just want your letters to have less swag? But also, I think it's fine if we just keep the tail on lowest case, because this, in my opinion, this still feels like less than this. So I think it's fine. I think regardless of how you write your lowercase q, this works as lowest case q. You know what we haven't done yet for any of the letters? turn them upside down.
What?
Cause I'm upside down. What? Like,
What are
I
you
think that would be
thinking?
really funny.
bro?
What is that? What is that? What in the abomination?
I'm casually eating chocolate. I just see that. What the?
I'm like, what?
What?
Okay, admittedly, it's not as funny as I thought, but I do still like it. The other part of this that really sells me on this design is the fact that if we bring up my other R designs, the biggest thing is that R always has a tail, and that tail grows with the cases. By flipping lowercase r upside down, it resembles this shape vaguely, while also being a tail that feels smaller than this. Even if they're the same size, to me at least, it feels smaller. And again, as I like to say, I feel like uppercase letters are usually more top-heavy than lowercase ones. So in the case of lowercase r compared to lowest case r, it's more top heavy. Even though this one literally is just lowercase r flipped upside down, I think there's a multitude of reasons that justify that choice. I know that some of you that clicked on this video were just dying to see what I did for S. And I hate to disappoint you, but also famously, I don't like designing things for S. Like middle case S still pisses me off so much to this day.
It's just... That actually does...
Still the same.
Yeah.
But I still do not have any other ideas that I feel like would keep in line with S. And so for lowest case S, we're just doing the exponent thing again. It's that boring and uninspired, I'm sorry. Although, to be fair, it's not like this wasn't boring or uninspired either. And to be even more fair, having this as uppercase S and this as lowercase s is right off the bat boring and uninspired. Exponent S for the win.
Yeah, I feel like S might be the worst.
For real, now I made my Mandarin go sour. What the fuck?
I have to agree with him. S is basically the worst letter of the entire alphabet. I mean,
the first, the first thing I finished eating chocolate. The second thing, now I'm eating Mandarin.
sometimes you eat the most random things.
I eat the most random things.
Actually, no. Exponent S for the lose. Loss. Okay, if D isn't my favorite letter in terms of its consistency, then it's definitely T. Middle case T is just uppercase T, but upside down. So therefore, lowest case T is just lowercase t, but upside down.
It looks like a sword.
Oh no.
Tell me you don't
What
see
did
that.
Brody-
Tell me you don't see the sword.
Oh! It does, wait. Even if you put it upside down, yeah, you can still see it.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a very easy pattern to make. It didn't require any thought or creativity. But it really works. In terms of consistency and the pattern presented, I think I do like D more because it requires more creative thought and the end result is a result of creativity. But the thing with T is that it's just like the agreeably obvious thing. Yes, anyone could come up with this. But I think that's the best part, is that anyone can come up with this. Therefore, we're all in
Literally,
agreement
though.
about these being the designs. They're just so inoffensive and agreeable that I'm ultimately happy with them for that reason. Okay, let's bring back M and N for a second. Because for you, well, U is just an upside down lowercase n. So I feel like our option here is pretty obvious. Just do that.
It looks like a bowl.
Bull.
Ball.
Bull. 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 Bull.
And the only issue I have with that is the fact that because we used lowercase r as the reference for these two, you can't really use it as the reference for this one because, of course, that bump doesn't go that direction. But we already established that lowest case r is that. So therefore, we now have the justification for including this shape. So, I mean, saved by the bell, really. Initially, I really hated this, but I think as these have grown on me, this one has too. Now comes potentially the most disappointing moment in this entire series. V, W, and X all have the exact same pattern going on. They're all in a group together, they're all best buds, and they all have the same pattern going on.
Oh, yeah.
There's
I
not
definitely see
anything
that.
I can do besides turn them all into exponent letters that would keep them consistent in that manner. The only thing I could think of is that I would turn them upside down. But my issue with that is, well, first of all, that's just the same letter.
You can't turn X upside down, man.
For real. Like,
And also,
what are you
and
gonna
also,
do with...
and also, look at W. That's just an M.
Yes.
And this too closely resembles M. So unfortunately, they have to break apart.
What?
But maybe there's a moral in there. I mean, out of the 5 cases, they all share the same pattern for 4 of them. So because the only difference between them is their lowest case, it still gives each of them a unique sense of identity. Yes, they're all different letters to begin with, but yes, they're all different letters to begin with, but if they
Technical
all, they're all
difficulties.
different letters to begin with, but if they all had the exact same formula for all of their cases, there wouldn't be any originality. And so the takeaway from this, for me at least, is that while it's important to find like-minded people, you always need to remember that you are your own person. You don't need to copy what your friends do just because they're your friends. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
always
yeah,
stand
very
your ground
true.
on what you believe is right. That being said, 2 of the 3 of these are just exponent letters, so all of that moral high ground kind of means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I still wanted to draw a lesson out of it. The only one that's not an exponent letter is W, and while I could just make it an exponent letter, I had a different idea that I kind of liked. For those of you that watched this video, one of the things I did to fix the days of the week was design them as symbols. And if you'll remember, Monday's symbol looked like this. God, I am running out of whiteboard space here. This might be the most I've ever had written on this. It basically represented an M while also being its own symbol. And what happens to M if you turn it upside down? It turns into W. So that's lowest case W.
Okay, not gonna lie, that works.
Yeah. I think I can kind of see.
Yeah.
It feels smaller than W because it shrinks in width, but it still retains the general form of W. And I like this too much as lowest case W to keep all 3 of these consistent through and through. Why? Both the
Just
letter
put it
and the
upside down.
question. If T and D...
Both the letter and the question. Okay, not gonna lie, look at the middle case. That's just one of the letters from the Kazakh alphabet.
No, just wrong. How about just put it upside down?
If I put the that one Kazakh letter right beside middle case Y, then you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
favorite letters in terms of how consistent they are, then Y is my least favorite letter in terms of how consistent it is, because it's so inconsistent. I mean, kind of. It still always has a stem and the V shape, but at the same time, this line comes out of nowhere, and like, it can't decide if it wants to leave or stay. So I don't really know what's going on. And so because I don't really know what's going on, I decided to design lowest case Y with the idea that I don't really know what's going on.
What?
I knew it! I know it.
What do you
I knew
mean?
it all along.
What do you mean you knew?
I told you this. Put it upside down. Upside down, why?
It's just uppercase Y, but turned upside down and shrunk to fit in the same like size gap as lowercase e. And it doesn't really resemble Y other than the fact that it's upside down. It doesn't really look like Y, but
Yeah.
we gotta have inconsistency in here somewhere. This whole video was me trying to keep things as consistent and patternized. That's not a word. Patronized? That's not. This whole video was me trying to keep things as consistent and organized as possible. And
Where did it get patternized from?
I had A, given up on that, and B, realized that we need a little bit of inconsistency in here because it's the alphabet. This is the same language system that has these two as the same letter. So I feel like this only made sense. And then lastly, of course, we have Z, to me, kind of follows this pattern of looking like a lightning bolt. I felt like it was only fitting to remove the top line for lowest case Z, but that feels too much like L. In fact, that is just lowest case L. So what do we do to make it feel like Z? Well, I just said, they all feel like lightning bolts, but none of them are actually just a lightning bolt.
What is he doing?
Until today.
What?
It's an actual lightning bolt!
What can I kind of see it?
Yeah!
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's lowest case Z. And I think it actually works because it's the same kind of line that's here on uppercase case Z, so there's consistency and a pattern going on here. I don't know, yeah, I like it. I feel like there's not really much that I need to say about this one. It's kind of self-explanatory. And
Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. And I feel like this might be the first time I've done a reaction video that's not a Sprunky mod. Like, give me some variety in here. And we'll see you next time. Bye!
Eat it up.